So I just went through and re-UV'd a bunch of stuff because I'm an idiot and I didn't do it before. And I just threw automatic maps on like everything, which is a horrible way to do things. For you guys, I do expect you to do better than that, but it's a crappy demo object, so I'm just going to leave it like that. So attaching actual things, or like attaching skins or pieces to your rig so that when you move like a wrist, it actually moves the body. 3 ways to do this. 1, this is a terrible way, never do this. Take the skin and literally just parent it in the outliner to the controller. Awful, awful way to do things. It's going to break your rig later. It's really messy to look at. Don't do that, ever. I'll take all of the points off. Other way, and these are, as far as I'm concerned, for like the hard body stuff, either one of these ways is fine. First option is to constrain the geometry to the joint, so when the joint moves, it takes geometry with it. Pretty much the same thing as connecting the controls to control the joints. So grab joint, select piece of geometry, constrain, and I'm going to do a parent constraint so that it will just sort of, carry that along with it. Downside of this, I will absolutely use this for like stuff occasionally. Usually I'll just sort of bind the skin because if you notice, like now we have this parent constraint in here, and there's already like 300 pieces of geometry in this, and I really, 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 really don't want more of them. So I'm just going to sort of leave that as is, which leaves me with the third option, which is binding the skin. So I'm just going to select the joint and the geometry, doesn't matter which order. Skin, bind skin, open up settings. And I'm going to use bind to selected joints, which is only going to attach this piece to the joint that I have selected. The default is joint hierarchy, which would connect this and just sort of like automatically kind of blend the weights of the joint between like pretty much all the settings, or like all the joints in the skeleton. So joint hierarchy is what you would want to use if we're doing soft binding. I'll get to that later. In this case, again, it's just one piece of non-bending geometry, so I'm just going to do selected joints. Pretty much makes a lot of the other options in here irrelevant, so I'm just going to hit apply. And you will notice that I am now able to, once again, bind the skin. So some very important things about this. For one, it doesn't leave extra stuff in the outliner. If you do need to undo that, just go to select your skin, and just do unbind skin. It'll pop it right back. It'll pop it back to the bind pose, or like wherever it was before you bound it. So if your rig for some reason gets like stuck in a weird position and you unbind your skin, it will snap back basically to T-pose or whatever you modeled it originally. You'll notice also colorize the skeleton, which I kind of like. And I think I just mentioned this 10 seconds ago, but again, please, very, very important, do make sure that you UV this before you start. If you UV your model after the skin is bound, your textures are going to explode and you are going to potentially ruin your UVs. Sometimes you can't recover the nice UVs that you did, or have to unbind all of your skin and then rebind all of your skin, which is a huge waste of time. So do please, again, UV this before you start doing this. So I'm just pretty much going to systematically go through and I'm just hitting G to sort of repeat the last command, and I have all these like ridiculous little screws that I put in because I'm insane. I think I spent like an hour building this hand like an idiot. And I can't click the thing. So I'm just going to go through and sort of attach these all in. So moving up to the next joint, I'll just sort of grab the finger and the joint. This is like really disorienting to look at. I'm going to just sort of, this seems like it would make sense on perhaps I'll attach it to the thumb, why not? Grab the actual thumb, and you can select multiple pieces of geometry, so like I can grab this screw and this little bit down here and connect that if I want to. So now if I move this, it should take all of this nonsense. You can kind of see, if this was text, it would be more obvious, but you can see it's like taking this along with it. So all of the fun things there. This mess of rig gets attached like that. And I mean, from here on, it is pretty just like systematically. You just sort of go through and like attach everything where it needs to be. There's nothing particularly fancy about this. It's just sort of like a tedious thing that you just sort of have to, you gotta just sort of do it. So I will do that. Hiya. What? Oh, ooh, whoops. What am I trying to bind here? I'm trying to bind a joint to a joint like a maniac. Ah, weird. Okay. And again, just doing multiple pieces of geometry because it saves me 2 clicks. Those 2 clicks add up. Oh, whoops, I forgot that's awkward, I forgot that this little dude existed. Whoop. I should attach this into here. So like I said, it really doesn't matter where the joint is. Like this joint can control this geometry over here, and since it's just one solid piece, it can do that. Clearly I've not centered these pivots. Oh, that's gonna bother me forever now. But like, yeah, it doesn't really matter if your geometry is like over your joint, it can still control whatever it needs to control. I think that's all of that, and then, ooh, my lord, what is this? Okay, okay, so then, let's see, legs, where's I need my torso ball, because there's no way I'm going to be able to select that, and nothing actually gets bound to the root joint. That's like the weird thing about it. It's just sort of there as a control, but it doesn't really serve a purpose in terms of like attaching skin to. You can attach skin to it, it wouldn't hurt it, it's just like, I usually don't find a reason to in models like this that aren't gooey. I say gooey as in like, you know, people with skin and bendy bits. Alright, so I think... So I'm just going to take the hair and I'm going to attach that into the head, and I'm probably going to do some other weird stuff with the eyes. I just don't quite know what yet. Something about them is like, I'm not happy with the eyes. I'm never happy with anything I make, it's awful. Curse of the crazy art people. Alright, so then I'm gonna, where's the hair? I'm gonna hide the hair. I'm bald! Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and bind this whole little piece with this. And I'm not gonna bind the jaw into anything yet, because I thought I duplicated that over. I apparently did not. Effort. So yeah, like I said, I'll kind of figure out what exactly I'm doing with the jaw later. Do the hair. Alright. So everything should be bound now, and that really is all you need to do for just like the hard pieces of your model. So at this point, if we look at this, oh my god, there's so much stuff. We should have, you know, if I bend this, the arm, it's going to take the arm stuff with it. I could go in and grab all of these little finger controllers and bend them down, or kind of like do whatever other silly controls I wanted with these. The clavicle, here is like a decent example of how this would rotate. So since I have it on the slant, I can just rotate it really, really nicely, and it has like a little bit more of a natural motion than it would if I was just using either world space or like just had it totally flat. So like I really like that ability to sort of rotate it like this. It just feels so much easier, more natural to me. And then I can sort of, you know, pose my character. Get weird with it. This is like a weird design because I'm gonna have to like sort of fight with the this joint here. To not have that clip. I could have put a little bit more time into that. I just didn't because again, demo model. But yeah, so I mean that's pretty much that. And again, the benefit of, let me just set up better stuff later, but benefit of having this, all your controllers zeroed out is I'm like, I need to, you know, I have other pieces I do need to attach to this, so I'm just gonna grab this, zero out the rotation, and it should snap back into place. Why? When I'm like, it should do a thing, and then, oh, because did I miss that? What? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Alright. So troubleshooting. This fun fact is why I have you guys doing a animation assignment with your rig, so you can... Why is that rotated? What that... oh. Okay, so this is actually important. Sometimes when you... Like when I took this and I parented it to this clavicle controller, it added rotation onto it. So if I unparent that and then I just sort of go back in and reparent that, you can see it's like local space, so it's grabbing these translations now. If I zero this out, it's taking it back, so it's parallel with this clav control. So what I want to do is just zero this out again. And you'll also notice that like when I did that, it mutilated my joint. That actually probably explains why I was having a lot of issues with this particular joint doing weird stuff. So again, I need to disconnect this, zero this out, and then reconnect this joint. So I'm just gonna hit F to find that, figure out wherever the heck the stupid R shoulder orient constraint is. Hopefully it's not gonna make me do this down the entire chain. So I'm gonna Shift P this, so this is no longer connected here. So this should just be on its own. I should be hopefully okay to zero that out. Parent this, damn it. Okay, yeah, sometimes that happens. Ooh, that's so annoying. All right, so I need to reconstrain this entire arm. And again, sometimes this happens. The beauty of rigging. So this should now be good to just tack back under here. It's gonna grab those those translation rotation values, that's okay. Zero those out. Okay, that's fine. I'll parent that back under it. So again, it's really, really good practice. Just do it like 7 times, just to make sure you get everything before you start doing stuff, but like make sure you have no rotation on your controllers, otherwise it's gonna break everything and make you cry. So now I just need to go back in and reconstrain this. So grab the controller, again, grab the skeleton joint, constrain, orient. When in doubt, just redo it. That's usually my mantra in rigging. And of course it's a hand, it's always a hand, with all these stupid tiny joints on it. You can see it just adding a bajillion joints, or a bajillion constraints. But yeah, so if you guys have issues with your rig and you like don't know how to fix it, a lot of times it is sort of faster, as annoying as it is, just go through and restart things. Rather than trying to sort of fight with it for 3 hours, and chances are, I didn't constrain any of this either. Oh, great. Rigging, real talk, guys. It's ridiculous. But like I do that with, I'll show you guys like fancy IK, FK switches at some point, and I always end up having to redo at least one limb on the body half the time, because just like something will break and it's like I see the problem, or I might not see the problem, but usually at this point I can sort of ID the problem. I just can't fix it. I don't know when it happened, so I just have to go back and just sort of, you know, redo a bunch of stuff, and it sucks, but it's always faster than 80th time that you do stuff. I've clearly also forgot to attach the neck joints. Terrible, terrible, terrible. The legs I do seem to have done, except no, I haven't done any of the, what has happened to you? Did I just delete all of the leg constraints, or did I just not do them in the first place? This is also like 50% of my rigging mistakes, is just me straight up forgetting to do things, like just not constraining anything to begin with. So that's always fun, to just be like, I'm done, and be like, nope, I forgot apparently all of the legs and half of the arms. So I think I've actually got everything now. I should be good to like jiggle everything. Okay, cool. I think this is done. And I think this was me talking about rigging and binding. But yeah, so I mean, this should be, at this point, like an actual functional rig. If I, you know, move this head around, it moves the head. Again, with the exception of the eyeballs and the jaw, which I think I'm going to come back to maybe a little bit later. Actually, now, you know what? I'm gonna do a thing for the jaw, which is either going to be amazing or terrible. I'm honestly not sure. I'm going to just sort of duplicate this head control really quick and sort of pop that down and scale it a bit. It's gonna be my awkward little jaw control. And I'm just gonna put the pivot of this, if we go into this view, I'm gonna put the pivot of this